Why has it taken so long for the gold mining Silicosis lawsuit to be heard? What prompted Richard Spoor attorneys to present arguments in this class action? And how do silicosis and tuberculosis impact the lives of victims and their families? Does contracting silicosis by working in a mine automatically prove negligence on the part of the gold mine? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. In 2011, the Constitutional Court ruled that former mine workers who suffer compensable diseases in terms of the Occupational Diseases in Mines and Works Act have the right to institute damages claims against their former employers. The ruling was made in the late Thembekile Mankayi versus Anglogold Ashanti case. Meanwhile, a class action lawsuit has started in the Johannesburg Court. Lawyers representing thousands of workers who contracted silicosis while working in the gold mines are demanding compensation for victims and their families. A reminder that this is a live program, and therefore you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial is 089-110-4210. Our Twitter handle remains at Question Time 24. My guest today, Richard Spoor, who is a human rights attorney from Richard Spoor Attorneys. Alan Fine, gold producers representative. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Rich, why did you take this matter up? I know you are out there with communities that are experiencing challenges and are challenging mines and all that. This one is quite different.
Well, I began representing workers who were killed and injured. Families of workers who were killed, of course, in accidents, industrial accidents, nearly 30 years ago. In the late 1990s, we did the asbestos litigation on behalf of asbestos miners. And when that finished, around about 93, 94, took on the next target, which was gold. Went to Lesotho, went to the Eastern Cape, and started running a test case to just prove the right to claim damages. And that took 6 years. We lost in the High Court, we lost in the Supreme Court of Appeal, finally won in the Constitutional Court. 6-year journey, and then we could begin this class action. So it's been a very, very long road. This litigation, 10 years, but with the asbestos on top, it's a good 15 years of work to get where we are now.
So who are we talking about here when we talk of this particular claim?
We're talking about former gold mine workers who typically would have spent anywhere between 15 and 25 years in the mine and who developed a lung disease called silicosis caused by breathing dust underground, who lost their jobs. Maybe they were retrenched, maybe they were dismissed because they were sick. But because of their disease will never get employment again, are sent home to the labour supplying areas, Mozambique, Eastern Cape, Lesotho, Botswana, and other parts of the subcontinent, and who are sick, who are at risk of contracting TB, who are unable to support their families, who get TB, pass it on to their wives, pass it on to their children, and who typically lose 15, 20 years of their working lives. So they and their families suffer very, very serious harm as a result of this disease.
So, pardon me, I'm a typical Joburger. Would the people in Deep Kloof and Meadowlands also be part of this claim? Because there's also some huge mine dumps there, and that dust is problematic.
It's nuisance dust. It's not going to cause silicosis.
Okay.
You need to breathe a lot of dust for a very long period of time.
Okay.
Minimum period, 10 years, upwards 10, 12. If it's heavy exposure, 10 years. Every day, every working hour to develop this disease. So people living in the environment, even if it is unpleasant, even if it's really dusty and dirty, are not going to develop silicosis. They might get asthma, they might get other things, but silicosis, no.
I see, but well, don't they have some grounds also to challenge the gold mines or other.
I mean, the nuisance dusk issue.
Yeah,
that's another issue.
Another
it's not kind of hard and serious and detailed like this.
But I would also love to hear actually from the people around areas such as Deep Kloof and Meadowlands. I mean, I know there are mine dumps and other areas also. I mean, I was in the northwest yesterday as well. There are areas that are around, mining townships and mining towns. Please give us a call so that we may also get to hear what you think about this particular case. The numbers to dial 0891104210. Now, Alan, you represent the producers here.
Yeah.
What is your position?
Well, the producer's position is that the producers are defending themselves in the class action brought by Richard and others. But at the same time, they recognize that silicosis is a serious issue. It's a serious legacy issue. They've been working for a long time to improve dust management conditions underground. And more to the point, they've gotten together more recently to work at finding a comprehensive solution to the whole issue of compensation and healthcare for workers suffering from occupational lung disease.
Just hold it there. I want us to, we're looking at the companies, perhaps I'll just ask that slide to be brought back so that we can just know who these companies are. Anglo-American, Anglogold Ashanti, Goldfields, Harmony, Sibanye, DRD Gold, and African Rainbow Minerals. These are the companies that you represent.
Correct.
So are you saying that your companies did not make people sick?
There clearly are people out there who are suffering from silicosis,
yes,
other occupational lung diseases. And that is why the companies recognize that they need to work towards improving the compensation system.
So what are you defending?
Both by improving the quality of the current compensation system and shifting current and future workers to the COIDA compensation system, which does pay better compensation. In addition, the companies are in talks with the legal representatives of the claimants with a view to setting up a legacy fund, as we're calling it.
Okay, we'll get to the legacy fund.
Okay.
What are you defending?
What the companies are defending is the charge of negligence.
You don't think your companies were negligent?
Behavior against them. Those are issues that are there to be decided by the courts.
Yeah, fine. But what's your position as you walk into this matter?
The company's position is that over time, as knowledge and as technology has improved, the quality of dust management has improved.
So you're questioning
significantly, and that they've been working towards this for many decades and continue to do so.
Okay. So in simple English,
yeah,
are you saying your companies did not cause the silicosis which this men mainly are suffering from?
The companies, I understand, will argue in court that they adhered to the legislation of the day.
Which day?
And as time has proceeded. We know that South Africa comes from a very difficult and unpleasant history.
That's why I want you to tell us which day are you defending? Are you saying you've adhered? Because, I mean, we all know that there hasn't been transformation in the mining sector.
Well,
and we all know that all those black men who were working underground there were actually just tools to make money for those companies that you represent today. Now, are you saying really that the companies are saying that we have done our best to make sure that those people have good health underground?
The companies will say that they did what they could under conditions at the time.
Of apartheid.
And continue to the companies too were part of South Africa's apartheid history. No one can deny that.
So you're going to defend apartheid in court?
No one will defend apartheid in court, but the entire transition in South Africa is to seek to...
Okay. I'll come to you, Richard.
Is to seek to, as far as possible, bring some kinds of reparations for the past.
Alan, I understand that you're a spin doctor, but let's deal with facts here.
Yeah.
Do you accept that the mines that you represent employed people?
Of course.
Okay. Do you also accept that the people who were employed there were working under appalling conditions?
They work in those days. Workers worked under
well, some are still working under those conditions even today.
Lived under conditions that no one can be proud of today, and that is why there are improvements to the quality of accommodation on the mines and living conditions for workers.
I'm not so much worried about accommodation.
Sure, but you did say there's been no transformation.
But these men are not getting sick because of where they live. They are getting sick because of where they work.
Those men fell ill because of breathing in silica dust.
Which your companies knew that was hazardous.
And the management of that dust was insufficient at the time to prevent those illnesses.
Okay.
And they are... the companies have, as I say, for many decades been doing what they could to improve that management.
And what have they done?
They have introduced various new methods to monitor and to dampen down
So
areas.
there's an acknowledgement of guilt. Otherwise, there would have been no change.
No, I'm not sitting here and acknowledging guilt on behalf of the
Okay,
companies.
fine. Well, this is what I'm saying to you.
But sure, you're entitled to your opinion, but obviously that is something for judges to decide should the case reach its end.
All right. Richard Spoor, how much are you suing them for?
There isn't an amount. The damages will be determined by each individual's case.
Okay.
So how much you get depends on a number of factors, but including your age, your degree of illness, the years you worked. It's quite complex formulas, so there's a range per individual.
Okay, I want you to hold it there. I want us to take a quick break. When we return, we'll be taking your calls. The number 089-1104-210. Twitter handle @QuestionTime24. This is Question Time.
SABC brings to you Rugby World Cup 2015.
The road to greatness is not an easy one. It's rough, tough, and full of barriers. And there's only one way to master it. Never, ever stop. Dauntless. The all-new Audi Q7.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today is Richard Spoor from Richard Spoor Attorneys, Alan Fein, gold producers representative. And we're taking your calls right here on Question Time. Please just tell us what do you think of this particular matter. The number to dial 089-1104-210. Our Twitter handle @QuestionTime24. How bad is silicosis?
It's a progressive and incurable disease, which means you can't fix it, and it only gets worse. It damages your lungs, and as that damage progresses, your ability to perform work, even to perform your day-to-day functions, is impaired. But it also makes you very susceptible to contracting TB, So if you've got silicosis, your chances of contracting TB is the same as if you've got HIV and AIDS. That means you get sick a lot with TB. If you go home, you can pass on that TB to your wife, you can pass it on to your children, you can spread it in the community. And there's no question at all that one of the reasons why the labour supplying areas are so poor and underdeveloped is because of the enormous social and economic cost associated with the burden of lung disease amongst mine workers.
Butumelo, you're calling us from around Gauteng. Hello, Butumelo? Butumelo? Yes, Butumelo? We seem to be having a problem with Butumelo there. However, the number to dial 089-110-4210, 089-110-4210. You are going to present your heads of arguments, I think, in 2 days or so. What is the line of argument from the mines?
Well, I'm not really qualified to talk about the company's legal positions. There are several companies, more than several companies, involved in this case. They all have their own legal counsel. They may be taking different views on different issues. So it's not. But really,
is there any remorse?
It's not possible to represent them collectively on that. There is a recognition by the companies that there are very serious issues to be dealt with in terms of compensation and health care for those
made any proposals?
dealing with for those suffering from silicosis. The companies, as I said, are in discussion with the claimants' lawyers with the view from the company's perspective to setting up a legacy fund which will pay additional compensation to eligible former employees. And in addition to, as I said a little earlier, transfer present and future employees to a better compensation fund, and all the while, of course, improving the quality of underground dust management.
Okay, Mzungisi, you are in the Eastern Cape. Hello?
Yes, but in private.
Yes, I can hear you.
There is a problem with network here. I can't hear you.
No, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to ask this question. That why it's so difficult when the members or the workers that were working on the mines, when they retire or either seek pension or retirement, why it's so difficult from them to get their money? It's taking so long to get their money. As a result, my grandmother was working at the mine, at the gold mine, years before 1996. But even now, it didn't get any cent from the mine. Why it's so difficult from them to get their money from the mine, from the mine managers or mines and so on? I don't know. What can I say to this?
All right. Thank you very much, Mzingisi. I think we've got your point. Well, I'm sure you get this daily.
Yeah. Mzingisi is talking about the statutory compensation system. So if you're a mine worker and you get silicosis, you can also get compensation from the state. From a fund called the Compensation Fund for Occupational Diseases. That fund has been dysfunctional for the last 25 years. It doesn't work.
Does it have
so
money?
there's a massive backlog of over 100,000 people who've been certified by the Medical Bureau. They've got these diseases, but they haven't received their money. There are tens of thousands of workers who are eligible under the law to get what they call a medical benefit examination, periodically to have an X-ray and to check if you're sick, because you can develop this disease long time after you finished working.
Yes.
But that system is broken. It was set up under the apartheid system to service a small group of white miners. In 1994 it was expanded, deracialized, extended across the board, and then it was broken. And 21 years on, it's still not fixed. The compensation is completely inadequate. The maximum compensation you're entitled, if you've lost more than one lung, effectively, is 100,000 rand. The typical benefit for a mine worker with silicosis is in the region of about 35,000 rand.
Okay.
So we're talking about a completely dysfunctional state system. And that's one of the reasons why the Constitutional Court said, look, this system's not adequate. People have kept their right to sue under the common law for their damages. So why doesn't it work? Well, the system's dysfunctional.
Okay.
It's not working.
Boitumelo, you are calling us from around Gauteng. Boitumelo? Do we have Boitumelo?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Boitumelo. Boitumelo, we can hear you. Can you go ahead and make your submission, please?
Yes, sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, good afternoon, Mpo. How are you?
I'm well.
Good
thanks.
afternoon, how are you?
I'm well.
Good. Mpo, my question was my question was one, is to say, because that man who's representing mines said the mines have improved the standard life of the mines. It means that the people, those who have suffered because of those diseases, they mustn't get paid now. That's what I want to ask. Because of the people who have suffered, he can see they suffer even now. So
Okay.
what he meaning is they mustn't be paid or compensated. That is my question. Thank you, Paul.
All right. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is two things. First of all, we've spoken about the discussions going on with Richards and others with regard to setting up a legacy fund to enhance the amount of compensation that people would get. Secondly, the companies are also working very closely with the Compensation Commissioner in efforts to repair the compensation fund whose administration is severely damaged. Okay. There is a lot of work going into efforts to improve that, and hopefully within months it will become apparent that people are being paid the compensation that they are due. Okay. One of your previous callers who said their grandmother worked on the mines, I suspect she isn't a silicosis victim because there weren't women working underground in the mines in those days.
So what is your...
But there is a separate issue, as we've also read about, with former workers being found and tracked down and being paid amounts from their retirement funds that are due to them, and that's a different project that the companies are also busy working on.
So what is your answer to the caller?
My answer to the caller is that the companies have recognized the seriousness of the situation, and that is why they've embarked on this process to find comprehensive solutions to these issues of compensation and also healthcare, because the other point, as has been made, is,
so can they sue?
Is that for people suffering from silicosis, good treatment of TB, which is the opportunistic disease that invariably arises, is important, and that treatment needs to be gotten to as many people as possible.
So the caller is basically saying, are you saying that they cannot sue?
No, clearly they are suing.
Okay. Are you happy with that?
Well, we would think that the best solution, obviously the case can be fought to the bitter end, at the cost of maybe hundreds of millions of rands in legal fees and 10, 15 years perhaps of legal proceedings. We would hope that we're going to be able to find a better solution than that.
What is your solution? What do you want to propose?
What we want to propose is the establishment of a legacy fund to pay former miners additional compensation to what they are already entitled to.
What's the rough figure?
That number is still being worked on. The negotiations are still to be had. But what the companies are looking for is a fair solution for the workers, but one that is sustainable for the industry as well.
Okay.
It being an industry that still employs many tens of thousands of people.
Richard Spoor, can these workers bet on you?
Look, we have a really strong case. I mean, our legal argument is, first and foremost, is that if you're engaged in business to make a profit, and in the course of that business you injure people and you kill people, you are responsible as a matter of law. But we have to make that argument in court. If you can't make that argument, we're saying they were negligent, they didn't do their job. You ask the question. I mean, look, to prevent workers getting this disease is not that complicated. What you've got to do is spend money on ventilation. Okay. Now, the fact of the matter is that it was cheaper to let workers get sick and die than to provide adequate ventilation underground. That's why they were negligent. That's why they're liable. It's that simple.
Richard Spoor, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well,
fortunately, we've run out of time, but we're going to be following this case with keen interest. That was Question Time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. From me and the crew, have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.